Hello. Hey, Anna. How you doing? Oh, just
Hi, sorry, I disappeared. It was unintentional.
okay. Okay, who do we have? Who's coming? Let me just quickly text. Starting now. Hey, if you're here, just get settled, grounded. Um, I think we're going to be a small group. Hi, Gina. How you doing? Okay.
Good, thank you.
And Melanie's coming a bit later or late. Um, so who is this? It's a phone number. I'll wait until they can hear me and then I shall. Hello, who is 828-0653-8298? Otherwise, I'm going to have to bump you out. Just let me know who you are. Either by putting in the chat. Andy. And there's Gloria. I didn't hear you. They're still connected to audio. All right, I'll check. Hey, Gloria. How you doing? All right. Yeah, whoever 828-0653-8298 is, send me an email or put a text. Otherwise, I'll have to bump you out. There's Candy. Can you? Ah, it's you. Hey, how you doing? You just got the Zoom link just a minute ago? Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. All right. Good. Okay. Do you want to change your name so that people can see? Is there a way to do it? I can do it for you if you want.
Hi. Yeah, I guess I zoomed on with a number and not my name, so I don't know how to do that.
Okay. Amelia, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can check I spelt it right. How's that? Okay. All right. All right. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so this is the masterclass for this month on expressing yourself freely. And we're going to go through a series of processes and a little bit of a different take on what it means to express yourself freely. So just for this moment, just close your eyes and contemplate what it means to be able to express yourself freely, what that means to you. Specifically notice body sensations and emotions and feelings that come up. Think about times and places when you do express yourself freely. times when you would like to express yourself more freely? And what representations you have, what that looks like, what that feels like, what that would be like. And what we'll be doing is clearing blocks, resistances, injunctions, anything that gets in the way of you allowing yourself to be you. And then I want to talk about that a little bit. Okay, and when you're ready, just gently open your eyes. Okay, and actually, before I go into that, why don't we just have a go around and just a quick, what you'd like to get from this session? What does it mean to you to be able to express yourself more freely? What that would do for you, what that would give you, what that would get for you. Like, why do we want this? What would it do? What is it about? Yeah. All right. Who would like to go first? Who would like to express themselves freely?
I'll go.
Hi, Anna.
I'm just entering this
Amelia.
session with a state of curiosity.
Okay.
And yeah.
All right. Thank you. And who's next?
I'll go.
Okay.
So for me, I think I have a lot of shadows regarding expressing myself freely. And what I've noticed with the sessions we've been doing monthly is that I find deeper and deeper levels that I release more and more and express myself more. So I'm really curious about how deep those levels go. And I think when I'm fully and freely expressed, it doesn't really feel like anything except flow, because it's so natural that you're not even kind of noticing it. And that's actually where I'd like to be is, and if I do notice it, like in the pluralist form, I'm really just happy and joyous about it, something like that. Yeah.
And that's what, critically, that's kind of what we're going to look at a little bit, because sometimes the very way people set up the conditions by which they think they're going to get the thing they want is actually in opposition to the thing they haven't got, right? So it creates this push-pull, this internal struggle. The classic version of this is someone who goes, well, if I had twice as much money, I'd be happy, right? And then they go for the next million and the next million, and it never ends, right? So I've got a friend, Dawn, who when she was 16, she set the record in Aberdeen for the 100-meter sprint. And she goes, and so she was going faster than everyone else. She goes, honestly, Anand, it felt like I was doing nothing. Right. And so this recognition, there's many things that all of us do that for other people are a huge struggle. And we take it for granted and we're free to do those things. Right. For some of us, it might be public speaking. For others, it might be just even, for someone who's depressed, right, getting out of the bed in the morning is nothing to most of us, right? And yet that can feel like a huge mountain. And a similar pattern, I think, happens with self-expression, right? So and I'll talk about this a little bit, because we still want to be able to extend our behavioral range. However, it doesn't necessarily look like I have to be, naked on a cliff top at a full moon, throwing fireworks and diving into the ocean. It might look like that, right? But it may not, right? It may look like you just being you and having that ease and freedom in being oneself. And then everything else flows from there. All right. So who's next? Specifically, what do you want as well? You include that desire. So Anna. Oh, you're muted, or I can't hear you.
Sorry. Yeah, so I think I'm already expressing myself freer and freer, and it feels more ordinary. I feel just somehow, I don't know, better. And the other thing, what I would like to do is when I express myself, that I still am caring about how other people would react to what I express, and maybe as well being all right with if I decide I'm not going to express because it would not be appropriate in a situation, but not feeling that I would not be able to express, but choosing I'm not expressing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah. So the constructions, the meanings we make that get in the way of freedom of expression, like basically how do you know that you're not expressing yourself freely? There must be two meanings happening simultaneously, right? Otherwise we literally wouldn't know, right? There must be an impulse to want to express and simultaneously a feeling of inhibition. Because if those two aren't present, then there's no contrast, right? There's no like desired state. We're there already. Okay, so thank you. And critically also, sometimes not expressing ourselves doesn't necessarily have to be coded as oppression, right? It's really smart not to draw attention to yourself in a biker gang bar saying I'm alive or whatever, or maybe it is. All right, so who's next? By the way, and this is partly because a few people don't know each other, so just bring your voice to the space.
I can go.
Sure. Hey, Dina.
Hey. Mine is sort of a mix between Gloria and honest. I feel like that I'm doing it a lot, and I do feel like I'm in the flow more and more. And I am sort of interested in to see how much more, what more can I do? At the same time, I feel like, I don't know, people say that with age, you care less and less what other people think. So there's part of that going on. But I'm also aware of wanting to meet people where they are, so that even though I have this sense of wanting to fully express, I also want to have a connection with people. And if I'm out here and they're somewhere else, they may not, there may not be a connection at all. So if I connect with people, I sort of have to like ask questions about where they are and where they're kind of holding, and then sort of meet them. And, it's sort of a two-way kind of thing.
Yeah, and this is going to be critical because these are constructions of polarities that we've kind of brought into, and we're going to resolve some of them. So this idea, if we fully express ourselves, then we'll disconnect from people. We might disconnect from some people, right? And also depends, there's an infinite number of ways we can express ourselves. So there's probably an overlap, right? There's probably plenty of room actually in the overlap between how we want to behave and how certain other people in context will allow us to behave. And that might be a much bigger range than we thought it was. So this is what I've noticed is that people will, and actually a coaching client who actually had this, where when she went to express herself, she found those people who would object, right? And they did it beautifully. They said, I find you irritating. So they had no problem expressing themselves freely to her. And actually, Adyashanti, who's a spiritual teacher, he talks about this, that being honest and speaking your truth does not mean emotionally dumping on others. He talked about one woman in the car park and she just went up to somebody and said, I just have to be honest. Right? Well, no, you don't. All right. Who's next?
I can go.
Hey, Casey, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good. So part of me saying yes to this is I have been dealing with pretty severe body dysmorphia that has come up. And after a conversation I had last night with someone, it really turned into more like self-dysmorphia. And what I mean by that is I'm in a place in my life right now where I'm realizing more and more how much I had to mask as a child. And so there's I became a people pleaser, and I masked for, the safety of myself. That's what I needed to do. But what's happening now is that those those coping skills aren't working. Like the masking is actually having me like lose connection and having me pull away. It's having me feel really off with myself. And also knowing that I have something that I want to launch in the world and I haven't been able to do it due to whatever stories and blocks that are there. And so what I want is I actually had multiple experiences when I was on a trip recently where I actually got to feel my inside out fully and be witnessed by other people in that. And so there was this like, oh, this is actually how I want to be in the world. And yet I still don't feel safe in this from a space of, pleasure and innocence and joy and that it wasn't safe when I was younger to do that. And so now it's like, I want my adult to feel safe in doing that.
Perfect. Sounds good. And so the two components, the critical components that of what Anna started to bring up as well, which was that I want to fully express myself, but there are modeled conditions about what the world might do if I do. Right. And they pretty much fall into two categories. One is safety, a genuine safety, like, am I physically safe to do so, or will someone do something to my physical safety? And the other is the second. And so we're going to do some practices to do with building safety in the body. And we're all adults and discerning enough to be able to know context-wise what we can do where, right? The challenge is that some part of us that might still be running doesn't know, right, or is afraid, right? So that's the first piece. The second thing that people can do is to do or say something that impacts on our self-image or self-concept, right? And the shift in stage development is moving more towards what we call self-authoring. So when we're moving into our teenage years, one of the reasons that teenagers can have challenges that with their insecurities and fears about who they are is for the first time they can do, I think I am who I think you think I am, but I don't know I'm doing it, right? So the self-construction, the self-image, self-concept is built out of who we think other people think we are. And this is all of the fitting in and the formation of cliques and groups and finding the group that will accept you, and teenagers feeling isolated and lonely and all of these things is because the self-construction is, I think I'm the idea of who I think other people think I am, right? So the move from there to self-authoring is feeling stable in the body, and now you're writing your own self-description, self-authoring, right? So that when somebody else triggers an idea or a thought or calls you a name or any of those things, or implies that you're this or that or the other, or doesn't like something you did in your business, and they're making a claim about yourself, who they think you are, then you've got enough of a stable self yourself so that you don't collapse into their frame. Does that make sense? Right. And this is a move. This is a self-development move. And we're going to do it rather than just talk about it, right? Literally, there is the methodology for this is that we disidentify. So we make object the thing that we were immersed inside of. We get to step back from it. This is how all development proceeds. Yeah. So, okay. So that's some of the things we're going to be doing. All right. And thank you, Casey. Right. And one thing I would say to you, Casey, as well, is that the mere fact that you're recognizing it, right, means that some part of you is already starting to step out of it, right? Some part of you must be outside of it to be able to witness it, right? So this is the move has already begun. It's already started. So thank you. All right. And in some sense, we all have a distortion in our self-concept or self-image until we realize it's completely constructed, right? That it's thoughts. We're having ideas about ourselves, and then our body, mind, energy system is responding as if that's true and real. So the shift is not that disappears, because some people do that and they go, I'm not a self anymore, is that we recognize that we're the one doing it, right? That we are literally making a self-description and an avatar for ourselves and embodying it like a set of clothes in any moment, right? And that recognition, as that appears, it frees ourselves from having to be any particular way in ourselves. And that fluidity then creates the capacity for all kinds of other behaviors that aren't necessarily consistent. Like, you know, I have to be consistent with who I was. Well, that's the end of learning then, if that's the case. Right. All right. Candy, how you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. I was going to say, I don't think I've really thought about having authority in my voice before until August. I really spoke up, stood my ground, yelled from the rooftops, lost my voice. I'm still recovering, losing my voice again, because I'm talking so much to do work that I have to be careful about protecting my voice. But the funny thing is that I was 5 years old when I was told that if I spoke and told someone the truth, that I would be hurt. So I think because of all the work that I've been doing this last year, that I finally feel that I've healed parts of me that is allowing me to be the Phoenix Rising and who do I want to become, not who was I as a victim. So it's really an exciting time, and I'm really aligned to be here with you today.
Cool, fantastic. All right, so, and we're going to go into this later. We'll do this a little bit because here's a critical component of this is that the losing your voice basically is I'm going to override the shutdown response, right? Rather than resolve the shutdown response so it's no longer there. So it's two forces in opposition. One force is I want to speak, and the other is be quiet, don't speak, right? But what we want to do is not have these internal contradictions. And so we'll do some processes to go, okay, what is it first like to be told if you, what did you say? If you speak, then you're going to be hurt.
Yeah, if I tell the truth.
If you tell the truth.
If I told on him for his assault to me, there was going to be consequences. So that played until I started working with coaching and such.
Yeah. So what we want to do is figure out how we are embodying and how we've introjected it, how we've taken in this idea and how we're living it, and we'll deconstruct it. So we'll do some processes to do that during today. Because
and
yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Because then when you want to speak, you're not trying to overcome an internal, if I speak, I'm going to get hurt. If that's still running, you've got two forces kind of trying to fight each other, right? But, you know, to be honest with you, though, hats off to you. I want it to be more elegant and easy. But the first indication is I'm not going to stand for that story, right? I'm not going to tolerate that story. But what we tend to do, most of us, we go into a fight, right? This is when somebody goes, I was silenced, so now I'm going to shout, right? Or I was made to feel invisible, so I'm now going to be super visible, right? Which is fine, unless this thing about, it's a bit like when someone says, I don't want to be poor, I never want to be poor, and they keep making money and they make more money and they make more money. There's a guy in our local pub, restaurant, bar kind of place, and he used to run American Express in the UK, in Europe actually, and he was a young lad from Manchester growing up in terraced houses, you know, these kind of rows and rows of terraced houses, and they didn't have much money. And for whatever reason, some penny drop happened, in some part of him awakened, and he came down to London, and people saw that there was something special about him. And so he got moved through the ranks very, very quickly. But some part of him is always that little boy from Manchester who was poor. And so the joke is that, you know, when the bill comes, that he's like stingy, right? That he runs away or he won't buy his drinks and all the rest of it. When he's got oodles of money, like compared to most people.
An opportunist.
And well, ish. No. It's it would be I don't know, different if he was an opportunist. It isn't that. He said it one night, right? We were all having a drink, and he said, do you know what it is? He goes, I'm always terrified that someone's going to take it away from me.
Oh,
And
no.
I'm going to go back to being, so some part of me is still living in that poverty place. And so what we want to do here is to go that those things that happened to you happened. They absolutely happened. And constructions were made and we interjected them, we took them in. But now we have tools to resolve and dissolve them to the point where they don't operate anymore. And then we don't have to fight with them. This is the point, right? So actually just do this with me now, just before we get going. Tap on the side of your hand. We'll just do some tapping. Tap on the side of your hand. Even though they told me that if I tell the truth,
there's
there's going to be consequences.
going to be consequences.
And I took it in.
And I took it in.
And I had a body response to it.
A body response to it.
Of fear.
Of fear.
I really believed them.
I really believed them.
And they were serious about it.
And they were serious about it.
And I love, honor, and accept myself anyway.
And I love, honor, and accept myself anyway.
Okay. They really put the fear of God into me.
Really put the fear of God into me.
I can remember those moments and that fear.
I can remember those moments and that fear.
So much so that I can run it in my nervous system now.
So much so that I can run it in my nervous system now.
That's how powerful I am.
That's how powerful I am.
I can create and generate realities.
I can create and generate realities.
So I don't need to fight with them now.
I don't have to fight with them now.
I can recognize that I'm the one doing it.
I can recognize that I'm the one doing it.
And they don't have rights to put that into me anymore.
And they don't have rights to put that into me anymore.
Deep breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Okay, what's happening in your body?
I feel a lot of joy and calm. Like, I will agree. Like, it's just amazing. Like, it makes me this person. I feel a lot of love for who she was and what she suffered through to get here now. And I was smart. Like, I've asked for crazy things, but I had to have a conversation with my dad. So I took him to a breakfast restaurant where everyone could hear the conversation. So my dad had to talk really quiet, and so did I. And it was like the best conversation between us because I was smart. I'm like, do it in public because he won't want people to listen to us.
Right.
It was sweet.
Well, very strategic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my sense of what was happening in your body, and we want to get a sense of this, everyone, a feeling of this, that when we've taken on a schema, a structure, then when we have a thought, it creates a very specific body, mind, energy system, right? If that's stable, that's what then leads to us believing in the consequences of those things, right? We enter that trance, right? So now this doesn't make us stupid, right? We don't, we clearly don't want to, like I said, we still want to understand the world has consequences. I don't want to be shouting at my IRS, whatever you have in the States.